All right. Well, welcome everybody, everybody that's going to watch this later, and welcome Lauren and Bobby. I'm excited to get to talk to you guys this morning. And yeah, we'll just jump right in, and I'll let one of you guys, whichever one you want to go first, share a little bit about what's going on.
I'd be happy to. Not too much new. I know that through the Voxes, I've kind of been updating everybody. Uh, just been active on the job and in the neighborhood, trying to share where God lays out opportunities. I pretty much just wrote down some names, some of which are people that we've prayed for before. A couple of these are new relationships that I've been able to, I guess, kick off. But yeah, so it's kind of all across the board. Um, Most of these names, all of these names, I've been able to share the gospel with. And when I say the gospel, just able to just share Christ as the only way of salvation, and try to emphasize their need to repent of sin. So I guess I'll just throw out some of these names and maybe just a brief description of the conversation that I had with them. The most recent of which I shared a little bit with yesterday. Sam, who was an Indian man. I was doing a service with him down in his basement. I was checking for termites because that's my job. And I saw a little, I guess, a shrine, or I don't know, a little idol worship station, basically. And I kind of put that in the back of my mind, and God opened an opportunity to have a conversation with him. And I just kind of asked him questions about, what he believed, and it was mostly for his wife, is the way he described it. But basically, he said that he was very open to really all faiths. He didn't seem to really care too much, but he kind of just wanted to have a conversation with me. So he was polite, and I was able to share the gospel with him, and what a Christian believes, and just to share absolute truth, that there is truth, and you need to kind of decide at some point what you believe, because that's what makes sense. So it was more so, I guess, some apologetics mixed in with sharing the gospel. So it kind of laid the foundation for a need of truth, and then was able to segue to the gospel. So I asked if I could pray for him, and he said that was great. So I didn't pray for him then, but hopefully I'll be able to see him again and follow up with him. Other than that, I was able to talk with a lady named Evelyn. She was actually she started the conversation by mentioning hypocritical Christians. I was, again, doing a termite service, and she just mentioned how Christians are hypocritical out of the blue, and that sparked a conversation. So I was able to share the gospel with her and her husband standing there, and she actually posed some really deep questions that were really surprising to me. So I was able to once again use a little bit of reasoning, aspects about God's nature to segue into the gospel and sin and things like that. So that was Evelyn. I was able to share with a lady named Carol, who is suffering from a stomach ulcer. Yeah, I could definitely see just the weariness in her eyes as I was talking with her, and I was just able to ask about how how she was just doing, and she just shared with me that she was suffering from a stomach ulcer, and it just really broke my heart, just the conversation I was having with her, and just leading into the need for a restoration in the physical world. And I was able to segue into the gospel, but she just seemed, I don't know, she just didn't seem all there, just from a physical weariness. I haven't had a conversation with someone who was just so physically weary as I have with her. But she was definitely thinking over what we were talking about. And, with her, I felt there's the spirit moving to push, like, hey, have you responded to this? Because she said she was a Christian. She said she kept going back to, I've done the right things. I've done the right things. I'm like, yeah, but it's not about the right things. It's about responding to the fact that you can't do the right things. And she really didn't give an affirmation that she had done that specifically, but I think she understood. And she is on my route, and she will be someone who I will see again. So I'm looking forward to continuing conversation with her, God willing that she's still physically able, to talk. But definitely prayer for Carol's health, and that the Spirit would continue to move her heart. Mrs. Tillery is another lady who says she's a Christian. We actually sparked a conversation from Halloween. She kind of denounced Halloween as just wickedness in and of itself, and I was able to have a conversation with her. She definitely seemed to come from more of a legalistic background, even though she doesn't attend church. She just kind of has these ideas of what Christianity is in her head, and then she just kind of spews them out, and she really didn't have a very good understanding. So I was able to talk with her some, and I said that I recommended her coming to church, and I even recommended a local church by her home that I knew was solid, that she'd become involved in, and I said I was going to ask her about it next time I came. So pray that I'll be able to continue that conversation. I think I shared this one over Voxer. Ed is a gentleman. I was servicing his house, and I wasn't able to have a conversation with him then, and I was a little disappointed. But on my lunch break, I saw him in a restaurant, and I never go out to eat over lunch breaks. Like, I just was like, hey, I've been seeing this restaurant. I've been driving by it. I just want to go in. So I went in, got to meet the owner, and then he was just sitting right there, and he was by himself. And I literally just come from his house like 2 stops before. So I just sat with him, and he shared with me about his divorce and all this, all this crazy stuff he's been going through. And was able to share the gospel with him as well. I invited him to church, to Imago Dei. I gave him our card. I think I was able to give him a story tract. And I just encouraged him to continue to seek after those things. And that was pretty encouraging, that the Lord set up that meeting. And he's another person on my route that I'll most likely be able to see. Other than that, I just would ask for continued prayer for some of these previous conversations. I was able to meet a homeless man, a ton of homeless people on these corners. I know you guys see them all the time, even leaving Imago Dei. But if you go down Falls of Neuse, down where the 540 interchange is, there's just different people all the time, just scattered. I almost feel like they fight over that real estate because there's so many spots. One of which I was able to talk with briefly. His name's Danny. I know that there are faithless people at IDC that are reaching out to, the people right around them. Sam Shepard is one of them, who's done a fantastic job. I'm reaching out to some of the people right there on the corner. So continue to pray for him. Just a couple of names. David Cole is a gentleman. Carl Lovett. Karen Francis. These are all people I've just been able to share the gospel with, have conversations. They're on my route, so just continue to be able to, God would allow them to be home when I'm there and have these conversations. Teresa. So I'll probably just write those down and just text them out over the box or something, and we'll just continue to pray for those. But other than that, I know that A-Rod isn't on this chat right now, but as far as homeless ministries going, he heads that up. We went out this past Wednesday. We're continuing to see fruit from that. So just pray that we would be able to take some of these contacts that we've had and be able to have continued contact with them. We've got a pretty good basis so far of the people who are downtown consistently on the streets, and we've been able to get to know them. So right now, A-Rod has asked us to push that we just start meeting with a couple of them more frequently when we go, and be more intentional to maybe take them out to dinner, and just have continued relationship building with them. As we continue to see just the people on the streets as a whole. So just continue to pray for that in general. Sanctification for Larry, who is the guy who we were able to lead to Christ, Walt and Will Klingon. Other than that, if anything comes to my mind, I'll let you know. But yeah, a lot of stuff, but God is definitely moving in Raleigh, and it's exciting. So appreciate you guys, and yeah, that's all I got, I think.
That's good, bro. Man, gosh, you encourage me every time. I just, I'm so encouraged by the way that you just, every opportunity, man, every opportunity. It's just, everything is an opportunity, and I love it. So, it's good. Lauren, you want to go?
And is Bobby's mic on? I was going to say something to him, but I didn't know if his was muted.
I have no idea. I'm not muted now, I think, and now.
No, I was just going to encourage you. You are so intentional about sharing the gospel, and so you just challenged me personally to be more intentional. And so I just want to say thank you. As a sister, you're an encouragement to us all. So I just really wanted to encourage you. But yeah, for me, not a ton of updates. I really haven't been able to see Nia since, I guess, 2 weeks ago. Nia is Fari's daughter. So Fari is the Muslim lady that I've been going to the shop to see for months. And so her daughter came to church and all of that. But last week was midterms for me, and then this week was midterms for her. And so with our schedules, we've not been able to get together. And so that's been kind of difficult. But we've been in communication, like texting, but haven't been able to get together. But I went to the shop last night with my friend Ibby. Zach, of course, you know her. Bobby, I don't know if you know Ibby Davis or not. She goes to the seminary. We went to go get our eyebrows done, and I knew Fari was working because I have like the certain days that she works, so I try to go on those days. And Ibby got to talk with her, and then I got my eyebrows done from a new lady. Her name's Iram. And I didn't realize that I connected with her like a month ago. And so I got to talk with her a little bit, and I have a henna story on my hand. And so she's like, oh, you have henna. And so that created a conversation, and I got to share the story with her. She didn't say very much. She was kind of asking like what the symbols were and, oh, is this his followers kind of thing, but not a ton of conversation from it. It's a little difficult in the shop. Yeah, I was just encouraged to have somebody go with me, to be honest. I've been doing this by myself for a while, and I've slowly started to been able to bring other girls in, and even when I'm not there, to get them to be connecting with these ladies, which has been really encouraging to see people coming alongside of me, because I don't have to be there. That's not important, and so that's just been really encouraging to have people come, because a lot of the stuff with Muslims I've been doing by myself. And I'm learning that in my situation, and maybe in all, that evangelism isn't always meant to be that way. And so I've just been encouraged by other believers. And so the main update was Iram. And just continual prayer for me to be able to connect with Fari and Nia. I mentioned to Fari last night about having her family over for dinner. And she was like, oh, I don't want to be a bother. And I'm bringing all my family to your house. She was like, but your family, so you come over whenever you want. So I'm hoping to be able to go over there again soon. So it's pretty much all I have as far as like an update on my end. Oh, and Zach, I am going to the mosque with Jonathan next Friday to connect with the women. So I decided to start doing that. But I know there's another girl interested that goes to IDC, so I don't know if I'll be doing it every week. She may want to go, and I mean, if she wants to go, that's great. And so, but I am going to go next Friday with him to see if I can connect with the women.
That's good. Yeah. I knew that already. I talked to Jonathan Terrell in class on Thursday. I'm sorry. And so he told me that you were thinking about doing it, or that this other girl was also thinking about doing it. And yeah, between you and me, and from what I was hearing from Jonathan, I don't see that there's any problem with it not being both ends, both you and this other girl as well. So don't feel like you have to not go because she's also probably gonna go too. There's nothing wrong with I don't want to say it this way, but almost like double teaming. There's nothing wrong with doubling up and having more opportunities for more people to make connections, and that's a good thing. So,
Honestly,
hey, let me jump in for a second. Have you been able to have any further conversations with the JWs, Lauren?
no, I have not. And I'm just going to be completely honest. I feel like we can't be here. That was actually really frustrating for me. I'm just going to be real. And so
They are very frustrating.
I left like incredibly discouraged and frustrated, and it was the second time we met, and I had class, because the first time I met, like, I missed class to meet with them, and the second time, like, I kind of just felt like our conversation went in circles, and they, and honestly, like, I'm still learning how to talk to them. And I have a friend who goes to IDC, and his grandparents are Jehovah's Witnesses. And he's a good friend of mine. He's in my growth group. And I told him, I said, next time I go meet with them, I said, you're coming with me. I said, because you just, honestly, he knows more than I do. He's better at engaging them in discussion. I mean, they're like really nice people. And we had a good conversation for an hour and a half, was able to share bits and pieces of the gospel. But they're just so ingrained into what they believe, and they've twisted our scriptures, and just how they were communicating with me, it got to a point I was like, we could literally have this conversation all day long and it would not go anywhere. And I didn't know what to do at that point, and so I haven't been back in communication with them. They haven't communicated with me, but honestly, midterms were insane for me, so I really wasn't doing anything with any of these things. But now I'm kind of back to normal life. But yeah, I have thought about reaching out to them again and seeing if my friend Colin wants to come, because I haven't been back together with them since. But yeah, it was, as weird as it sounds, like more frustrating for me and hard than talking to Muslims. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's just kind of where I was. But yeah.
Yeah, no, I just want to encourage you, because, and I think I've even had a conversation with you, Zach, about, talking with some Jehovah's Witnesses that have come to you, and I was able to reconnect with the Jehovah's Witnesses on my route, and it's the same story that you're saying, is that you get to a point where you kind of shared the differences, and then they're not necessarily willing to listen beyond that point, and basically all that happened was he gave me his material and was like, here, read this, and that's pretty much all that happened. So yeah, I just wanted to hear the update, and just encourage you that just kind of take this as it comes, if the opportunity arises. But at a certain point, if they're not going to listen, then you can pray and just do what you can when you can. So yeah.
Yeah, and that's honestly where I was. Like, I've still been praying for them, but I don't know. As bad as this sounds, like, I didn't know, not wasting my time, but I was just really struggling with, do I continue, like, really investing them in every week? And I don't know, that's just kind of where I was. But Zach, I am excited about the mosque opportunity, though. Really excited, but it's different because they're Shiite Muslims, and all the Muslims I've met have been Sunni, and all of the Muslims, majority I've met, have been South Asian, except like this Iraqi family from back home. That's a whole other story. So really, like, Arab Muslims, I don't have as much experience with. Like, Fari and all the other ladies are South Asian, and so I think I don't know. I'm assuming they're different because they're from different contexts. And Shiite and Sunni, like, I know the whole history of that, and so I just am not as informed.
I can go ahead and tell you that I'm not as informed either about Shias, especially. And Jonathan has even been able to teach me some since he's started going there. But I'll just tell you, I mean, similar to the conversation that I had with Tyler last night or yesterday on the way back home. He made the statement. I've learned more in the one conversation that we had with this guy than I have ever had with any of the other classes or books that I've read on Islam. And so let me maybe just encourage you that conversations with people and asking questions and learning, like, where they are as individuals and as people is going to be that's what's going to enable you to know how to best share the gospel and hit it where it counts for them. So yeah, maybe hopefully that's an encouragement to you. You'll learn as you go. There's no missionary who ever made it to the field who knew everything about the people before they got there. So we've got to be learners as we go. Yeah, good. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to share about the Turkish Center, because I've been keeping you guys up to date on that through Voxer, and then also on I told you guys about going out with Justin White, which was phenomenal, by the way, just going with him, and he's a wonderful, wonderful guy, and just we spent time together in the apartment complexes that he and his local church, the Oaks Church, which Ibby is a part of. And so I love our cross-pollination working together. That's good. I love it. And yeah, I think I learned a lot just from spending a little bit of time with him of just thinking through. A lot of what I've been doing has been primarily focused within the context of businesses and neutral ground where we can meet these people in natural ways, and that's good. And I think that's necessary. It's a necessary part of what we need to be doing. But just the way that he went about just saying, look, I'm going to take a couple of hours and I'm just going to spend it in this apartment complex, and we're just going to pray. We're going to ask the Lord to give us opportunity to talk to people, and whenever the Lord gives us that opportunity, we're going to ask if we can pray for them specifically, if God could do a miracle in their life, whatever. And then letting the gospel flow out of those conversations, and then being able to follow up with them where they live. And so you naturally are moving more quickly, I feel like, than we've been able to, into a context where you can open the scriptures with them and expose them to the Word of God. At least for them, it has proven to be that way. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm still like thinking through this in my own life and trying to figure this out. Bobby and I are actually going to go out and give it a shot in his apartment complex. He's going to be we're going to guinea pig your apartment complex today, man. And so we'll see what happens. But anyway, yeah, I feel like we need to start doing some more of this as well. So all that to say, yesterday going with Tyler to Charlotte, man, gosh, Tyler Brown. I actually added him to the Phil group, and I'm sure that he's sleeping after a long day yesterday. But yeah, phenomenal day. I love going with that brother. If you haven't met him yet, man, you got to meet him. We were able to really, I don't know, the spirit led us. I mean, it was amazing. We met 3 really important people, 2 in particular that I'll talk about. We met Amir. We were sitting at a Mediterranean Lebanese joint, eating some rice and chicken, and this guy kind of walks around, and I said, "Hey, excuse me. Hey, can I ask you to? My friend here is moving to the city. He's going to be starting a church here in the city, and I was just wondering if you'd mind sharing a little bit about Charlotte." And this guy was actually Urdu from New Delhi, from India, and a Muslim. And so he shared with Tyler, he shared that he was actually the founder of an interfaith, I think he called it like the Interfaith Climate Control something or other, alliance or coalition. And he's got like Jews and Christians and all this kind of stuff all working together. And so he shared all this stuff, but he knows like the mayor of Charlotte, and he's super well connected. So for us to meet this one guy in this place at this time, it could not have been. It had to be the providence of God. So he gave us his number, and within 5 minutes of leaving, he was already texting Tyler and saying, "Hey man, how's it going?" You know, he's definitely a politician, but yeah. Anyway, that was a really, really good contact for Tyler. We're not able to share the gospel with him, but I think in the future when Tyler gets there, it's going to be a good entryway into some of that community. And then but pray for discernment there because of the interfaith stuff. It can get tricky sometimes. And then we went from there, from lunch, so I skipped all morning, but we went from lunch to, I was going to say, we were going to swing by a mosque and just let him see it. I just wanted him to see it. We weren't going to go inside. And then we were going to go to a Hindu temple because he was interested in going to a Hindu temple. And but when we got to the mosque, we drove down, and this road, when you start, it's like 2 blocks down and it dead ends where the mosque is. And so when we turned onto the road, there were cars on either side of the road that were just completely filled up the whole road. And so it was obvious, like there were so many people there. And so we drove all the way down and couldn't find parking, so we had to turn around and come back. Well, we tried to park, and the butt end of my car was kind of blocking somebody's driveway. And so this Muslim Somali guy kind of rolls down his window. He says, hey, don't park there. Follow me. I'll show you a place. And so he took us around, and we got to another place. We ended up walking down because I was like, I want you to see this. I want you to see it. So we walked down so that he could see the mosque. But we ended up, in doing so, getting in a conversation with the same Somali guy. And we ended up, we were too late to go to this service, and so we had to go to the next service, which was at 2:15. But because we weren't going to go to a service, but because we started talking to this Somali guy, he was like, I don't know, it just seemed evident we had to go. And so we went, and we sat there, and it was good. This was Tyler's first time in a mosque, and so his reaction was very similar to my reaction when I first was in a mosque and seeing these people bowing down to a false god and having just no hope. And so he wept a little bit even there in the mosque, and that even that encouraged me because I spent a lot of time doing this, and so in some ways it becomes normal happenstance, like it just becomes, maybe I've become a little calloused to it, and it was good to see the freshness of Tyler's compassion and passion for the glory of God in that moment. So anyway, it was good. The sermon was terrible. The khutbah was terrible, talking about Palestine and Netanyahu, and then. But afterwards, we got to talk to Abu Kadir, is the Somali guy, and his friend Abu Wali, and there were a couple of other young guys that ended up coming in and sitting with us. And man, he took us to give us like a flyer about Jesus according to Islam, and then that led to a conversation about him. Abu Kadir said something like, we have to be really patient with one another about how we communicate with one another because we don't want to offend one another. He's trying to like smooth things over and this kind of thing. And Tyler love his boldness. Oh my gosh, just so encouraged by his boldness. He says, but, and I don't, if you know him, you know him. He's like, but Abu Kadir. He struggled with his name just like I just did now. He said, but you have to realize, for me, if I believe that the scriptures are true, then I know that I'm sitting here and I'm seeing you all bowing down to a false god, and that you are going you're going to end up in a place of torment like hell, and I love you. I don't want that to happen to you, and out of love for you, And if you know Tyler, like that's exactly how he would do it. And man, I was amazed at the grace of God in that moment that Abu Kadir did not respond poorly to that. But he said, yes, I understand because I see it the same way. And that led to a whole other conversation. We ended up sitting there for 3 hours just working through it. Abu Kadir, I've never met someone like him. He quoted more of our scriptures than any other Muslim I've ever met. He was brilliant. He is brilliant. His mind, thinking through it, he is brilliant. Problem is, he he has he is taking, he's still, even though he knows so much of the scriptures, he's taking the presuppositions of the Quran and supposing them on the scriptures, rather than treating them as they are. And so he has a wrong interpretation of the scriptures, on a lot of cases. But we were able to share the gospel with him a lot and in multiple ways, and from the Old Testament and the New Testament, and from Jesus' teachings, from Paul's teachings, from you name it. We talked a lot. And honestly, his issues are arrogance. His major issues are arrogance. He said, "I don't have a question for you. The only time I'll ask a question is if I'm leading somewhere." He said, "I don't have a question for you." So he's, I guess for him, pray specifically that his eyes would be open to the fact that he needs to come to God with a little more humility. He can't know everything. So anyway, that would be, and then also the other guys that were there sitting in the room, Umar, Tazik, and Abu Wali were the other guys that were sitting in the room, who were all, I think, disciples of Abu Qadir. It seemed that way at least. So, yeah. I can't hear you.
It's encouraging, man. So you said at the beginning of the day you weren't intending to even be in a mosque, and then by the end of the day, that's pretty much all that happened.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I know. I had to apologize to Tyler. I was like, man, I was wanting to show you so much more in this city, and then we ended up getting stuck in a room in a mosque. So,
oh, fantastic. That's
yeah,
awesome.
but it was, I mean, it seemed to be evident. It seemed to be of the Lord. And, yeah, Abu Qadir is, I mean, he's interested in having other conversations, and the sophisticatedness of his conversations, man, it was good. And honestly, I am fearful, a little bit fearful, to have someone of his caliber in the United States of America. I would estimate that your average churchgoer, you know, somebody from Imago Dei I'm not worried about, but your average churchgoer would not have been able to respond to his accusations, and probably would have ended up being a Muslim, or so angry because they were embarrassed they couldn't answer that they would just have ruined the relationship. And so he was making some solid accusations and better conversation about the Trinity, better questions about the Trinity than I've ever heard from a Muslim. Really, really solid questions. So, yeah. But pray for him. He's arrogant in his intelligence, so he needs humility.
Gotcha. Me, man, I think your screen went dead on my end, but I hear your audio, so you're all good on my end. I don't know if Lauren sees it, but
Oh, okay.
But
Sorry.
anyway, man, would you mind? I know that we usually have those names written down somewhere, maybe texting those names out in Voxer or whatever. Just a lot of names, so that'd be great to just get those down so we can pray for them. Yeah,
I will. I'm gonna do that for all of us, and send them out through Voxer that way, and email. I think I mean we've already passed our time, so we probably should better close it up. Lauren, would you mind praying for our group and just asking the Lord to do the work that only He can do?
Yeah. All right, let's pray. Father, I thank you so much for today. I thank you that you woke us up this morning. It's grace that we have breath, and so I just thank you. I thank you for Zach and Bobby and everyone else in the Philip group, and just how each of these guys and girls are being intentional about sharing your gospel. I pray that and ask that you continue to give us boldness. I pray that we would be sensitive to your spirit as we engage and minister to these people. God, I ask that you just remove us from the picture so that these people would see Jesus in us, because you are the only thing that can save them, God. And we so badly want these people to believe. So I ask, Lord, that you would do a mighty work in Raleigh and in Charlotte. God, I pray that your kingdom would come there and that these people would come to know you. I lift up specifically Amir and Abu Qadir, Tazik and Abu Ali. I thank you, and I'm so excited about the interaction and how you just were so sovereign over orchestrating all of this. And I lift them up to you, God. I pray and ask that you would soften their heart and that they would come to know you. I pray that you would continue to place other believers in their lives in Charlotte that would be able to engage them in conversation and continue to share the gospel with them. I pray for when Tyler moves there that he would be able to continue to have interactions with these guys. I thank you for opening Tyler's eyes yesterday and letting him see what goes on in a mosque. I thank you that his eyes were open and his heart was softened to that. I lift up Bobby, and I don't remember all of their names, Lord, but you know them. I thank you for his intentionality in sharing the gospel, and I pray, Lord, for each of these people that they would come to know you, that they would stop worshiping their false gods, whatever that is. I pray that you would continue to give him boldness. I pray that he would be led by your Spirit as he is on his job, Father. I pray that you would give him more interactions with the names that he listed. And I lift up Fari and Nia and Amir to you. God, my heart just breaks for this family. And they have heard the gospel, and I so badly want them to believe. But we trust you with all of these people, and we know that you're sovereign over their souls. And so, God, I ask that you would give me boldness and the other girls that are going to that shop, boldness, and that we would be more sensitive to your Spirit. I pray for the homeless ministry. I pray for Jonathan as he is continuing to go into this mosque, that you would give them favor. I pray for Gary as he is hanging out and ministering to these fraternity guys at State. God, give him favor. Give him boldness. I pray that these guys would come to know you. And all the other, Marie, just with her, as she is engaging these West African women, Lord, I pray that you would continue to give her opportunities. Just give her favor in her ministry, bless her ministry. And God, I just continue to ask for boldness, because we cannot do this on our own. We need you. And I'm humbled that you've called us to be a part of your plan, and that we even have these opportunities to share the gospel. It's amazing that you choose us to further your plan. And so I'm humbled. And God, continue just to give us grace as we go throughout this day. I pray for Zach and Bobby today as they go into Bobby's apartment complex. I pray for opportunities to share the gospel. I pray that you would open their eyes to the people that are there and that they would see people as you do. And God, we praise you and we love you so much. In Jesus' name, amen.
Appreciate y'all.
Yeah, appreciate you both.
Hey, thanks, guys. Grateful for you.
Yeah.
All right, we'll let you go. See y'all.
Bye.
See you, Zach.